Don't wait up. Everyone's at my promotion party instead. 10 minutes later. By the way, I put the $4,800 dinner on your card. Hope that's fine. The messages stacked like plates I'd never serve. The hall was set for 60 name cards handwritten, candles lined in 2 neat rows like a promise I kept to myself because nobody else would. The AC hissed. Balloons drifted toward the rafters as if trying to leave too. Hi everyone, my name is Harlow Wynn. I'm 28, the designated reliable one. The girl who remembers birthdays, even my own. Tonight I learned I'm also the family wallet, the afterthought, the empty chair at my brother's celebration. That hurt in a way I didn't have words for yet, so I borrowed two. Noted. I stared at their texts until the screen dulled from fingerprints, then set the phone face down beside a cake sized for people who didn't show. Buttercream roses slumped at the edges. Wax pooled like tear tracks around unlit wicks. A DJ playlist pulsed softly against the cinder block. Cheerful songs that sounded like lies in an empty room. I could have called. I could have begged. Instead, I poured sparkling water into one flute and listened to it fizz out. The betrayal didn't land all at once. It arrived in small sounds. The clink of unused forks, the squeak of a serving cart with no purpose, the echo in a room built for laughter I'd paid for. My brother's voice popped again on my lock screen. A photo of him on someone's shoulders, champagne mid-spray, captions cheering his self-made rise. Mom had left a heart reaction on his post. On my birthday. I lifted the knife, cut one perfect slice and plated it for myself. The sponge gave way with that soft sigh a good cake makes. I chewed, tasted sugar and something metallic behind my tongue. The flavor of humiliation maybe. Across the linens, my laptop glowed open to a timeline window. B-roll of the empty hall. The guest list spreadsheet. Screenshots. A neat stack of statements with my name in the corner. Months of, it's just this once, that turned into years. I wasn't dramatic. I was precise. I layered receipts with voicemails, soft apologies that hardened into patterns. I recorded a voiceover steady enough to be surgical. At 3:47 a.m. the export finished. I copied the link. Family chat. Paste. Watch this before sunrise. The candles stayed unlit. The room held its breath as if it knew the next light wouldn't come from a match. It would come from a screen, and from the kind of truth that burns without smoke. The message sat there in the family group chat, glowing blue beneath my name. For a second nothing happened. No replies, no angry calls, no laughing emojis. Just silence. The kind of silence that hums against your skin, heavy and expectant. I leaned back in the chair, the empty hall around me echoing like a cathedral to broken promises. My laptop fan whirred. A low, steady drone like it understood the weight of what I had done. My thumb hovered over the phone screen, watching the 3 little dots appear and vanish, like someone on the other end was choking on words they didn't want to type. At 3:51 a.m., Dad finally broke. What is this? I smiled, slow and deliberate. The first reply was always confusion, not guilt. I didn't answer. Instead, I refreshed the shared drive I'd linked. I knew the video was being watched. I knew because the viewer count ticked upward like a heartbeat. My video wasn't messy. It wasn't a rant. It was a film. I'd cut it with precision, every frame stitched with proof. Photos of receipts my mother had signed with my card. Screenshots of late-night texts asking me to just cover it, sweetheart, I'll pay you back, followed by weeks of silence. Clips of my brother's vacations, the ones he posted with captions bragging hard work pays off, while my paycheck footed the invisible bill. But the part that hit hardest, I knew it would, was the voice notes. I'd laid them one after another, my mother's laughter threaded with my brother's demands, their voices dripping with entitlement. Then the contrast. A still image of me blowing out last year's birthday candle alone, recorded on my phone in the kitchen, while the rest of them celebrated my brother's promotion. I had narrated just one line over it. Neglect leaves fingerprints louder than hands ever could. The comments under the video from strangers had already begun piling in. Words like parasites, betrayal, cruel family. Shares. Retweets. The algorithm eats truth when it's raw enough. At 4:07 a.m. Mom's message appeared. Harlow. Take this down. Now. My finger traced the frosting flour on the untouched cake. The room smelled faintly of sugar and smoke even though nothing burned. No, I whispered to the screen. And then another bubble appeared from my brother, frantic this time. You're ruining me. Do you have any idea what you've done? Yes. Yes, I did. The candles still stood unlit on the cake, but suddenly I didn't need them. The glow from their unraveling was brighter. If this ever happened to you, say, same in the comments. The panic came faster than I expected. By 4:30 a.m. the group chat looked like a battlefield. My aunt demanded, "Why would you humiliate your own family like this?" My cousin chimed in with, "Delete it before people see." But it was too late. People had already seen. I sat in that cavernous hall with 60 untouched chairs, the walls vibrating with an invisible energy I couldn't describe. For once I wasn't the invisible one. They were. My truth made them tiny. The video wasn't just receipts. It was a mirror, one they had avoided for years. Clips of my bank app showing transactions from restaurants I'd never eaten at. Screenshots of flight confirmations to cities I'd never traveled to. Mom's casual messages like, "Oh honey, it was just easier to put it on your card." Each proof cut like glass, but I lined them up clean, neat, undeniable. By 5:02 a.m. my brother tried again. "You don't understand. This ruins my promotion. People at work are watching. They'll think I'm a fraud." I typed back slowly, "They won't have to think." That silence that followed, it was thick like storm air before lightning cracks. I closed my laptop, letting their panic echo without me. I went to the balcony, the early morning cold wrapping around my shoulders. The city slept, unaware a family was burning from the inside out. I thought about birthdays past, the candles blown out in silence, the gifts that never came, the way my name always seemed like an afterthought in their mouths. For years I swallowed it, told myself I was strong enough. But strength doesn't mean silence. The cake sat lonely inside, but I wasn't lonely anymore. My story was out there, my voice amplified through 1,000 strangers pressing share. When the sun finally crept up, painting the horizon in bruised pink and gold, I realized something. They'd stolen my birthdays, my money, my place in the family, but they'd never steal my story again. And stories once freed don't go back in the dark. By sunrise, their frantic messages shifted tone. Guilt was too late, so they tried control. "Mom, you're being dramatic. Family handles these things privately." "Dad, you could have just asked for the money back." "Brother, delete it. I'll make it right, I swear." I read each one with the same calm I used when slicing that cake. Slow, deliberate, unshakable. They didn't realize yet, the video wasn't just out there. It was multiplying. My inbox flooded with strangers saying same, with screenshots of them forwarding it to friends. The algorithm doesn't sleep. Neither did I. At 7 a.m. I stepped into my apartment, the empty cake box tucked under my arm like a relic. My phone buzzed nonstop. Reporters. Former coworkers. People who had been used the same way, now reaching out to me like survivors finding each other in rubble. By mid-morning my brother called. His voice cracked through the speaker. "Do you hate me that much? To ruin everything I've built?" I let the silence drag because silence teaches. Then I answered steady, "Everything you built was on me." He cursed under his breath, muttering something about HR, about losing his bonus, about people in his office whispering. Every word sounded like justice arranging itself. Later Mom arrived at my door. She didn't knock. She just stood in the hallway, hair messy, eyes red. "Delete it," she whispered. "Please. Your father hasn't slept. Your brother, he's falling apart. Do you really want that on your conscience?" I studied her face. This was the same woman who once told me I was too sensitive when they forgot my 21st. The same woman who signed my card like it was hers. For the first time I didn't feel small in front of her. I felt level. "No," I said softly. "What's on my conscience is how you treated me. This is yours." Her shoulders sagged like the weight finally landed. She looked older in that moment, fragile in a way I never thought I'd see. And when she turned away, I knew the story had only just started tightening around them. By noon the family chat went silent. No new messages, no calls. Nothing but that eerie stillness that follows when people realize their power has slipped away. I could picture them huddled together, whispering strategies, trying to frame me as the villain. I didn't wait for their version to surface. I uploaded the second video. This one wasn't receipts, it was memories. Not grainy home videos but carefully chosen clips and photos that showed a pattern. Birthdays where my cake sat untouched while they toasted my brother. Vacations where I was left behind with, "Someone has to work." Screenshots of my texts asking, "Can I come too?" met with silence. Over it all my voice, calm, steady, etched like a blade. They called me family when they needed my money. They called me dramatic when I asked for love. Within an hour the view count doubled the first. Comments poured in, strangers writing, "This was my childhood, I feel this in my bones," and "Same." At 1:43 p.m., Dad finally broke again. He called. His voice, usually booming with control, was thin. "Harlow, you're destroying us. People at church are talking. Our friends." Friends. I cut in. "The ones who laughed at your son's promotion toast while I blew out candles alone?" He didn't answer. He didn't have to. By 3 p.m. my brother's face appeared across gossip blogs, co-workers tagging each other, debating the truth. They dissected my video frame by frame, and no matter how much he tried to deny it, the evidence was airtight. That evening, as the sky dimmed violet, I lit the candles on the leftover cake. Alone again, yes, but not invisible. Each flame felt like a witness, flickering approval across the quiet room. I whispered to myself, "They took my birthdays. I gave them their reckoning." And as the wax dripped, my phone buzzed one last time. A message from Mom. "You've made your point. What do you want from us?" I stared at the screen, the flames reflecting in my eyes. For the first time I realized the answer wasn't money. It was something far heavier. I let her question hang on the screen. "What do you want from us?" It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even remorse. It was negotiation. The language of people who had never truly seen me. I typed nothing back. Instead I opened my laptop once more. The first video was receipts and the second was memory, then the third had to be truth so sharp it left scars. This one began with my voice. Calm, low, the kind of tone a person only finds when they're done begging. Over it I layered footage of the banquet hall from last night. 60 empty chairs, a cake untouched, balloons sagging in silence. Then I spliced in the texts. My brother's mocking, "Don't wait up," Mom's casual theft of my card. The contrast was brutal. Narration. They said I was family. Yet I was left alone on the night I was born into their lives. Again and again they chose him. Again and again they emptied me out. But I kept giving, thinking one day it would mean I belonged. The upload bar filled slowly as if savoring the moment. By 7 p.m. the video was live. This time it caught fire instantly. Not just comments but hashtags, duets, strangers telling their own stories of betrayal. My pain became a mirror and thousands of reflections shouted back with me. At 7:42 p.m. my brother called again. His voice cracked with desperation. "You don't get it, Harlow. They're talking about firing me. Sponsors are pulling out. You'll ruin me." I cut him off. "You ruined yourself the moment you decided my worth was a wallet and not a sister." Silence. I heard him swallow hard, then the line went dead. By nightfall Dad sent a single text. "You've made your point. Enough." But I wasn't finished. Because this wasn't about points. This was about years, years of candles blown out in shadows, of dinners I paid for but never attended, of being told family meant sacrifice while they fed on mine. And the world deserved to see every last piece of it. By morning my phone was a storm. News outlets requested interviews, podcasts wanted me to speak, strangers wrote paragraphs thanking me for saying what they never could. My story had slipped beyond the walls of my family and into the bloodstream of the internet. And my family? They went silent. Not the silence of strategy this time, but the silence of collapse. Their group chat notifications blinked unread on my screen. I didn't open them. I didn't need to. Instead I prepared the fourth and final upload. Not anger, not vengeance, just closure. I filmed myself sitting at the banquet table from my birthday, the 60 chairs still pushed back like ghosts. I wore no makeup, no theatrics. Just me. A slice of cake in front of me, candles burning down to stubs. I spoke directly to the camera. For years I thought if I worked harder, gave more, stayed quiet, they'd finally choose me. But I was never chosen. I was used. And this year, on the night they abandoned me, I chose myself. Then without ceremony I blew out the candles. Fade to black. I scheduled it to post at 8 a.m. sharp. At 8:06 the calls began. Mom again, her voice frayed. Harlow, please. People are showing up at church with printouts of your videos. We can't breathe. Your brother, he's been suspended. Your father can't go to work without whispers. I closed my eyes, letting her desperation coat the air. It was the sound I used to make silently, blowing out candles alone. You wanted to know what I want, I said softly. I want you to feel what I felt. And now you do. She tried again, pleading, crying, but her words no longer landed. They floated, weightless, like balloons against the ceiling. By 9 a.m. the final video's view count soared past everything else. The comments were a chorus of same. I didn't reply to her. I didn't delete anything. Because silence, their silence, was finally speaking louder than my words ever had. By nightfall the storm had reached its peak. My brother's promotion was officially revoked. His company released a statement about financial ethics under review. Dad's name trailed across local gossip forums, whispers about misused accounts. And Mom, the woman who had always brushed me aside with a casual laugh, suddenly found herself uninvited from luncheons and group chats she once ruled. But me, for the first time I felt weightless. I sat on my balcony, the city humming beneath me, laptop warm on my thighs. The final video's numbers rolled upward in real time. Every click another candle lit, every share another chorus of voices that said I wasn't invisible. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't alone. The family chat was dead quiet now. No apologies. No anger. Just silence. The same silence they gave me for years returned to them like a gift they never expected. At 11:11 p.m. I sent my last message. You asked what I wanted. Here it is. Accountability. I don't need repayment. I don't need invitations. I needed you to see yourselves. Now the world does too. And then I left the group. Deleted the thread. Closed the door they never let me walk through as anything more than a servant in disguise. Inside, the leftover birthday cake was down to crumbs. I lit a single candle, no audience but me. This time the flame didn't flicker with loneliness. It burned steady, a quiet crown of fire. I whispered into the dark, not to them but to myself. Happy birthday, Harlow. I blew it out. The smoke curled upward like the last thread of the past unraveling, and in that moment, I knew the sweetest revenge was not destruction but freedom.